you're going through. See, my God is there for me and you. He will always carry us through the trials and tribulations. Don't give up, don't cry, wipe those tears from your eyes. Yeah, we're in this together. This won't last forever. If God could calm the stormy sea, He won't forget you and me. We're in this together. We're in this together.
He's got the whole world. He's got the whole world.
He's got the whole world in His hands.
He's got the whole world. He's got the whole world.
He's got the whole world in His hands. Now missions was a frustration. You know that we're Christians.
There's a smile on your face. We got God's grace, and we will never lose His protection. He'll always carry us through
The trials and tribulations. Don't
Give up and don't you cry. Wipe those tears from your eyes. Yeah, we're in this together. This won't last forever. If God can calm the stormy seas,
He won't forget you and me.
we're in this together.
We're in this together.
USC, so
Don't give up, don't cry, wipe those tears from your eyes. Yeah, we're in this together. This won't last forever. If God could calm the stormy sea, He won't forget you and me. We're in this together. Don't cry, wipe those tears from your eyes.
we're in this together.
If God could calm the stormy sea, He won't forget you and me. We're in this together. We're in this together. Antigua, Grenada, Saint Lucia, Barbados, Trinidad, Guyana, Dominica, Saint Martin,
Jamaica.
Saint Vincent, Africa.
Don't give up, don't cry. Wipe those tears from your eyes. Yeah, we're in this together. This won't last forever. If God could calm the stormy seas, He will forget you and me. We're in this together. We're in this together.
He's got the whole world. He's got the whole world. He's got the whole world in His hand. He's got the whole world. He's got the whole world. He's got the whole world in His hand. No matter what you're going The trials and tribulations. Don't give up, don't cry. Wipe those tears from your eyes. Yeah, we're in this together. This won't last forever. If God could calm the stormy sea, He won't forget you and me. We're in this together. We're in this together.
He's got the whole world.
He's got the whole world in His hands.
He's got the whole world. He's got the whole world.
He's got the whole world in His hands. Now nations, what's the frustration? You know that we're Christians.
There's a smile on your face. We got God's grace, and we will never lose His protection. We'll always carry us through
The trials and tribulations.
Don't give up and don't you cry. Wipe those tears from your eyes. Yeah, we're in this together. This won't last forever. If God can calm the stormy seas,
He won't forget you and me.
we're in this together.
We're in this together.
USC, so
Don't give up, don't cry. Wipe those tears from your eyes. Yeah, we're in this together. This won't last forever. If God could calm the stormy sea, He won't forget you and me. We're in this together. Don't cry. Wipe those tears from your eyes. We're in this together. This won't last forever. If God could calm the stormy sea, He won't forget you and me. We're in this together. We're in this together. Antigua, Grenada, Saint Lucia, Barbados, Trinidad, Guyana, Dominica, Saint Martin, Jamaica, Saint Vincent, Africa.
Don't give up, don't cry. Wipe those tears from your eyes. Yeah, we're in this together. This won't last forever. If God could calm the stormy seas.
Welcome to the USC's Virtual Open Day. I just want to welcome you to this session this evening. You are here with the School of Business and Entrepreneurship. We are so glad, we are excited, we are delighted that you joined us here this evening. Maybe you saw the Facebook promotion, maybe someone called you and said, you know what, you're not sure exactly what career path to take or where you should go. Check out USC's Virtual Open Day. However, you came to join us this evening, we are just excited that you are here. So I want you to do something for me right now, right this very minute. Share the link, share the live. We don't want you to keep all of this information for yourself. Make sure that others can get this great information that we have planned here for you this evening. I've seen the lineup. It is exciting. The School of Business, they are ensuring that when you come this evening, you are going to leave excited. You may even change whatever program you were thinking about and say, you know what? I like that team. I want to work with that team. Maybe you're thinking about marketing. Maybe it is that you like numbers, so you're thinking a little bit about finance. You want to become an accountant, an auditor. You want to get into investment. You're not quite sure where you want to go in terms of business, but I guarantee you that this evening you are going to get your questions answered. Now, we do have a special question and answer segment coming up a little later on, but don't wait until then. You can just post your questions in the Facebook, post it in YouTube, and we will take note of those questions and they will be answered. Now, this live may have just popped up and you are like, USC? I don't know about USC. USC, as we like to call it, stands for the University of the Southern Caribbean. And we have been established since 1927. Now, here is something that I can guarantee you. No matter where you go in the world, you will find someone who graduated from USC, or maybe they may tell you CUC, but it's all the same thing. And the unique and diverse thing about this university is that we have a campus, our main campus in Trinidad and Tobago, in Trinidad rather. We have a South campus in San Fernando, Trinidad. We also have a campus in Tobago. We have extension campuses all across the Caribbean. We have one in Antigua. We have one in St. Lucia, Guyana, and there's also an extension campus in Barbados. So right across the Caribbean, you can find USC. Trinidad, Tobago, Antigua, Barbados, Guyana, and St. Lucia. I am Shernell Fullerton, and I will be your host for this evening, and I am the coordinator of the Barbados campus. I'll share a little bit more with you in the program about the Barbados campus, but let me say now, if maybe you are listening from Barbados and you are not able or ready to go to main campus, that is okay. You can come and you can begin your program with us. So make sure and check our website, usc.edu.tt, to find out more about the School of Business, to find out more about our extension campuses, and just to find out more about USC. Our motto, Beyond Excellence. This afternoon, I welcome you all across the Caribbean, all across the world, wherever you're joining us from this afternoon, I welcome you. At this time, I want to introduce and also turn us over to Miss Legal. She is the Dean of the School of Business and Entrepreneurship, and she will introduce her team.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for stopping by Facebook and YouTube this afternoon. We are here from the University of the Southern Caribbean, as you have heard, from the School of Business and Entrepreneurship, if you please. So thank you for being here. And I know you have things that you're interested in, and you have people that you know, and then you're going to tell other people. So we thank you for taking the time wherever you are today. So I am Ms. Legal. I am the interim dean of the School of Business. Business rocks. As a matter of fact, some argue that business runs the world. Wouldn't you agree? If you agree with me, just type in the chat. Business really runs the world. Okay, well, that could be debatable by some people. So, of course, we will probably say it with some level of caution, but really and truly think about it. Business is very integral to the world that we live in today. So I'm here, and I'm here with my team, which you will see later on, but I'm going to call their names now, but you will see them later on. So later on, you're going to hear from Ms. Esther Sideno. She is a chairperson for Accounting, Finance, and Economics. So she's on today. And if you have any questions regarding any one of those types of programs of studies, you can put it in the chat, and she'll be happy to answer those for you coming up soon. Also today, we are happy to have Mr. Oda Javille. And Mr. Oda Javille also is a lecturer in the School of Business, and he lectures in business management with some HR. So we're happy to have him here this afternoon. You will see him a little later on in the program. And we also have Dr. Ward. Dr. Ward is here this afternoon, and she's an adjunct lecturer, and we call her the unofficial ex officio full-time faculty member that we have. And she's been with the School of Business for many, many years, longer than I've been here, probably longer than all of us here combined. But we're happy to have her this afternoon, and she's here. You'll see a little bit about her after. And then we have a little surprise for you. We have a CEO/president from one of our companies in Trinidad and Tobago. I know who's here to talk to you a little later on, but we won't tell you who he is right yet. We'll save that one for later. Okay, so we're happy that he is with us this afternoon, and we are grateful for him. So at this time, I want to just share a couple of thoughts with you that you need to consider. Because when you're making decisions, it's important to be informed. So I want to share something with you. I want you to take a look at it and bear with me for a few minutes as I share a couple of thoughts with you. So on the screen, you'll probably see some green and some black and some white, and maybe some yellow too. And so first of you say, why university? Is university still important? Yes, it is. University is still very important. And why? And there are two reasons why right there. Formal knowledge is still very highly respected. And when we say formal knowledge, it means that you go to school, you're going to be taught in a classroom, either virtual or not, and you are going to be exposed to formal information in a formal, structured type of way. Recently I was talking to someone, and he was talking to me, and he said to me, a past student of USC, and he said to me, Miss, I was talking to someone, and they told me they want to run their own business. Right? And they say, well, don't bother to go to school. Why are you going to school and get a degree for? Go out and run business. And you say, well, Mr. God, what do you think about that? Because there's a lot of things happening in business. I mean, think about it. Don't you realize people are selling? I mean, I just drive out my street, or I can just walk out my street, and I see people selling on the side of the road, and people are selling devices and food, and you name it, people are selling. So why bother to go to school? Just go and start a business, right? So then I told them, I said, well, think about it. Unless you really plan to be just doing a very small scale business, but the business is highly dependent on you, and if you are not there, all falls down, unless you're planning to only run that, think about it. Where are you going to get the skills to be able to run a business? How are you going to go and approach the bank or any one of those agencies for funding? How you know how to run your accounting? You know how to market properly? All of those skills are going to come in very handy. You know how to write a letter? When they tell you put a little business plan together, you know how to do that? Those are important skills that you need to know, and that's why you go to school. Because the truth is, even if you didn't, eventually when you want to grow your business to be substantial, you will find out that you will need all these skills and knowledge, or you'll have to go and pay somebody who went to school to do them. So you see why it's important that you understand. So if you have a fair understanding how business operates, it's very important. Now, a lot of people think they're running business, but they're not necessarily running a business. A lot of them making money on the side, but to run a business means you're moving your operations into being a little bit more formalized. So you have a financial aspect of what you do, and you keep good accounts of what you do and records, and you negotiate with suppliers. Now we're talking about running business, and you understand risk, right? Taking risk. And when we start to talk that kind of language, now we start to talk business, and you're thinking, maybe I have to hire somebody to help me. They have to have IT skills and communication and tech skills. These are the kind of things when we talk about running a business. That's different from making money on the side. All right. So if you're already thinking about running business, school is a place for you. Now, the other thing you have to tell people is saving towards university. Now, we are privileged in Trinidad and Tobago, but some of our Caribbean neighbors still have to pay to go to school. And eventually, who knows, we in Trinidad and Tobago may return there. So you have to think about schooling in a really formal way. Just when you want to save to buy a car, maybe save to buy a house, maybe save to get married. These are major expenditures that we have to do. Save to start a business. You also have to save to your education. So we want to encourage you that it's important to put aside money to save for the future. And that money can help you with school. That money can help you, even if some of you may have children in the future or you may have children now. And you have to start about thinking for school down the road, putting aside money for persons to come to school. So if you have children, you have to start from when they're like baby. And you have to start putting aside little bits of money every month to put aside for them to be able to pay for school. Why? Because education is as important as an asset. As a matter of fact, education is one of the best important formal assets you can have. So put aside money towards your education. Don't take it for granted. Education is not a government's business. Education is not as the Caribbean sectors that we have. It's not their business. Education is my business and your business. So it's very important for you to start thinking, how am I going to be educated and how am I going to pay for school? That is extremely important, and you really need to start thinking about that now for your further education and for your dependents that are going to come later down the road. You need them to be ready for school. Putting aside money for your children's education and for yours as well. That's a very important as part of your financial independence for the future. And it's very important for you to start thinking about your finances for the future, and school is going to help. So if you're in Trinidad and Tobago, thankfully school is heavily subsidized so that you can afford to pay for school, especially on the undergraduate level. So it's heavily subsidized. But think about putting aside for the future. Your education is your intangible asset that will carry you places in life. Very important. Let's continue. Now we're talking about business degrees and the future. Do you really need a business degree? Yes, you still do. It's not the end on be all, but you still do. But where's business going? Well, if you listen to the governments of Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean, you'll hear them talking a lot about digitization. Yes, indeed. Technology. There's even the big language that talks about education 4.0, understanding that there are critical skills needed for the future. As a matter of fact, some of the major economic forums are stating across the world that by 2025, everyone will have to be interfacing with technology, and it's going to be a major part of the workplace. And for those who kind of avoiding it and staying away from it, here's what the major reports are saying across the world. They will have to reskill and upskill. So my nice colleague that spoke a while ago, Mrs. Fullerton, she was talking a little bit a while ago about technology behind the scenes. And we're talking about it. And here the major reports saying that everybody will have to upskill. You can't run from technology anymore because there are people who are either going to come out with the skills that are going to push us away, or there are people going to come up with the skills and they're going to realize that people are going to demand more of it, especially for you to advance for the future. So you got to have your business degree with your technology, and that's where the School of Business is going. So you don't just want any business degree just now. You want to make sure business degrees are going to be juxtaposed with technology, and that's where the School of Business is going. So you need to hop on board and make sure you get the right type of skill sets for the future. Knowledge and information, critical thinking and decision making. These are all key terms that are used in business, and it's all about making sure that you position yourself well. You want to have a good job for the future, or you want to be a major business guru in the future. One of those two are where you're going. So whether you're going to be a CEO or financial director, or you're going to be in marketing, or you're going to be in HR, or you're going to be a managing director for the future, or you're going to be Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know where you're going, but I know one way or the other, you'll have to interface with finances, money, and business. And business is the whole way of operating, having an operation that can start with inputs and produce outputs and generate revenue and gain a profit. So all of those are the kind of things we teach you when you come to school. That's why it's important for you to have your degree. So which degree is right for you? Well, it's important that you take some time to figure out. Now, you could go to school for 4 years, or you can go to school for a number of years, and of course, try to figure that out. But it's important to ask questions. So if you have questions like you're still not sure what degree, and that's okay. I wasn't sure either. Would you believe when I went to school, I actually started doing a degree in accounting. I know, crunching numbers, doing those balance sheets, and I was doing, income statements and expenditure statements, profit and loss accounts. Yes, I know quite a bit about those. But then after I realized, you know what? I don't know if I want to do that for the rest of my life. So I actually switched and I went across the management and HR. right? So I have a background in it as well. So sometimes it may take a little while to figure it out. However, if you need some help, just let us know and we'll help you figure out what might be on the right path for you. Not only for yourself, but where you may be going for the future and where your country, where the Caribbean is going, where Trinidad and Tobago is going, and if you're positioning yourself. Because when you come out of school, again, you either want to get yourself aligned with moving towards your career progress, or you may be one of those who wants to be a business guru for the future, and you probably want to be a business mogul. Maybe that's you. So that's wonderful. And the last thing I want to tell you is, so where do you do your degree? Well, there are options. There are lots of options to do degree. Some people do advanced studies, and if you do advanced studies, you go to school for 2 years, then you may go on to an institution to pursue another 3 years. That's 5 years. And you have the option of probably coming out of high school and you can go straight into university, and you can do it in 4 years. So it kind of depends on the path you want to take. But at USC, we take you straight out of high school if you're willing to do that, or you can come back and pursue your degree if you started working for a while, and you can come and do your program in 4 or less years. You can actually do it in less. You can actually finish a degree in 3 years, even 3.5, right? So it all depends on how much you want to push and how much you want to push it out there. Now, if you're working and going to school, that might be a little bit tougher because you have to manage life demands, work demands, school demands. Okay, so it may take a little longer, but it all depends you want to go. So you can go straight to university or straight to college, you can come here. So some people argue, should you do a foreign degree or a local degree? Well, let me quote somebody that I know quite well. You know what they will say? As a matter of fact, in one way of argument, there's one side of the argument that says it really doesn't really matter. That's one side of the argument. There's another side of the argument that said, yes, it really does matter. Well, we can take it from both angles. Now, I'm quoting a good friend of mine. They will say, some people say foreign credentials are better, right? It's more superior. But if you're going to live and work in the Caribbean, really and truly, you're going to live and work right here. Now, foreign credentials can get you in the door, but what keeps you is the kind of skills and the way you can apply your education. So it's not just enough to have a credential, it's how you can apply that credential, and that is where the work world is going. So you have a degree, you have foundation knowledge. Can you apply that skillfully in your workplace? So really and truly, local is great. However, it talks about how you want to apply your knowledge and your skills in the workplace. That is what is going to come. So having a foreign degree and not being able to apply good knowledge and skills in the workplace kind of drops the ball. Same way if you have a local degree too. So really and truly, what matters the most is how you apply your education and your skills in the workplace. If you're excellent at what you do and you're very good at what you do, then it doesn't matter what degree you have, you are going to stand out. So ladies and gentlemen, it's great to have you here. And I'm so happy that you have joined us this afternoon. And at this very point in time, we want to hand you now over. I'm going to hand you back over now to the host, and she will tell you what's coming up next.
Didn't I tell you that you were in the right place this afternoon? So far, we have received so much information. I have also been encouraged. And I'm hearing, you know what, that even I may need to retool just now. So you are coming in at the right time where you're getting all of this information and you are being pointed in the right path. The School of Business and Entrepreneurship just might be the school for you. And I hope that by the end of this evening, you would have made your decision and that you would have your application form ready to send in and to be part of the student body at USC. At this time, we are going to have a testimonial, a student who is already part of the school, and they are going to share their experience with you.
Hi, my name is Kelly King and I am a marketing major. USC has always been the first choice for me because of its holistic experience, Christian background, and serene ambience. In addition to being part of the School of Business and Entrepreneurship, I am also part of the Business Association, which has allowed me to develop my skills in public speaking, events and activities management, and has allowed me hands-on experience in marketing. Without leaving the classroom, I have met persons of different ethnicities, races, and cultures. If I had to recommend USC, I would say it's the best choice for you. USC has been a truly transformational experience and has allowed me to start my journey beyond excellence.
Student who is in marketing, and she shared a little bit with us about her journey to excellence. We're going to move on with another person in the School of Business and Entrepreneurship, and that is Dr. Ward. Now, I'm excited to introduce this lady. You know why? Many years ago, when I walked the campus of the then CUC, now University of the Southern Caribbean, I had the privilege of being taught by this lady. I can remember the exact classes, I can remember the exact room, and it was an enjoyable time. So trust me, if Dr. Ward is going to teach you, you are going to be in for an exciting journey. I am telling you, I know others who have been taught by Dr. Ward will agree. You are in for an exciting journey. So I welcome Dr. Ward, one of my past lecturers, to share with us this afternoon her presentation. Dr. Ward.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is such a privilege to be with you and to talk with you. It is exciting that you are considering or want to consider USC as your choice for tertiary education. I want to let you know you would not be mistaken, you wouldn't be disappointed, you will be making a wise decision. What would be the pros for your choosing USC as your choice? Well, let me tell you a few things. First, to begin, USC is a Christian university and therefore provides a Christian environment. Whether you are religiously minded or otherwise makes no difference. You would find our environment comfortable, welcoming, exciting, and accommodating. Then, another thing about USC are our teachers. They are wonderful people. You will find that they are not only well educated and well versed in their area of expertise, but you will also discover that they are kind, caring, and understanding. They always have the listening ear to those with problems and challenges of any kind, and they go to the, shall I say, the extra mile to help students with their problems and their challenges. As a matter of fact, many of them have gone more than the extra mile to help students. I know because I'm one of them. In addition, you will also find that at USC, our classes are smaller. And this provides the opportunity for quicker and easier access to the teachers and also greater opportunities for involvement in class activities and class participation. At USC, there's greater opportunity for networking with your classmates, with teachers, with other universities, and as well accessing the various services offered by the universities, within the offices, the library facilities, etc. USC promotes high values, which you know is a big thing in today's world. Every country has ethics and values, and we are not behind in that. Teachers, students, and all those associated with the University of the Southern Caribbean are expected and encouraged to practice high ethical values in all their doings and all what they decide to turn out to students. USC pre-COVID offered very different things. There were co-curricular activities, societies, clubs. We have a business club, we have a debate club. But COVID prevented us from doing as much as we wanted to do. But I want to tell you that even during COVID, USC was involved in debates with other tertiary institutions. And opportunities such as these provided opportunities for the students to develop their debating skills and presentation skills. COVID took us by surprise last year, but this year will be no surprise. USC is just waiting. We are waiting to hear what is happening in our country and what the government is going to be telling us. And as soon as we know, we have our plans that we are going to roll out to provide for and go forward with all the other activities that we have in mind for the School of Business. I want to tell you something else. At USC, there are opportunities for face-to-face and online options. In addition, we have clubs. There's an international day, and because we have such a diverse student body, you are going to get the opportunity to meet students from all over the Caribbean. Shall I call some of the places? Barbados, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Grenada, let me see, Bequia, Suriname, St. Thomas, St. Croix, French Guiana, Suriname, Martinique, Guadeloupe. Can you think of another place where you can go and find so many people of so many different cultures in the Caribbean? USC is your choice and your opportunity to get acquainted with people from so many places. And I want to tell you something else. Many of the long-time friends that I have are from all over the Caribbean. They're people that I met right here. It was CUC then, but USC now. They are my friends. They have continued to be my friends for years and years. In addition, USC does have plans for the future. And some of these plans include exchange classes and programs with other institutions, which I believe most of you would find very interesting and very profitable. So, as one who went to school here, I'm a graduate of here. I did elementary school here, secondary school, college here, and now a teacher. I can attest to the fact that USC would be a great choice. And we are nestled in such a beautiful valley. You can't beat it. Although we are online, we offer classes online now. You will get a chance to visit at some point in time. We don't think that COVID will continue. So we want to encourage you to make USC your choice and to make the School of Business your choice. We have excellent teachers. All the best to all of you. Good luck.
Thank you, Dr. Ward, for giving us that information. I hope that all of the persons here on Facebook and YouTube, I hope you're hearing that at USC, we are a family. We care about you and we take the time to ensure that you are on the right path. One of the things that I have also been hearing is that you have to be working hard. You have to be dedicated. You have to come with your mind set to do your work and to get through well. So after so many days of hard work, you know, sometimes it's good to sit back and have a little laugh. We're going to have a session now that's going to tickle us a bit, make us smile, make us laugh, you know, and lighten the mood. And this is something that you need to remember as you become a student. Self-care, taking care of yourself, putting the books down at some point and ensure that you just take a breath before you leap into your next class or your next assignment. Taking care of yourself is fundamental also. So let's go into a session where we're going to have a few laughs at this time.
Are you ready? Ready for this?
Yes, I am ready.
All right. Let's start. You go first.
All right, sure. What song does a blind sheep make?
Tell me. Tell me.
Bah.
Okay, cool. What does the biologist wear to impress his date?
I don't know what.
Designer jeans.
So, what do you call an American bee? A USB.
Why did the banker eat lunch by himself?
I don't know why.
Because he was a loner.
Today I found out I was colorblind. It was sad news. It came to me out of the purple.
What? Okay. What did the can crusher? Why did the can crusher quit his job?
I don't know why.
And it was so the person. Okay.
How much tickles would it take to make an octopus laugh? 10 tickles.
Yeah, tentacles.
10.
All right. Why didn't the bike want to go anywhere?
I don't know why.
Because it was too tired.
Of course. So, this is a philosophical question, right? Is the Kool-Aid man the jar or the liquid?
The jar?
Okay.
Okay. Smart. Cool. What do you call it when a biologist takes a photo?
I don't know what.
A selfie.
I see that. Yeah, I see that. Okay. Cool. That's a good joke. Hold on, I'm kind of hungry. Let me go get a snack quickly. Is a cup is a mirror because I'm a snack, you know.
Clouds do when they become rich.
I don't know what.
They make it rain.
Of course they do. Of course they do.
Did you hear about the mathematician who's afraid of negative numbers?
No. Have you heard of it?
He will stop at nothing to avoid them.
Yeah. Why was the business sad?
I don't know. Tell me.
Because it was alone.
I don't know why I laugh at that. Right. What sits at the bottom of the sea and twitches?
Seaweed?
A nervous wreck.
Okay, a nervous wreck. Got it. Okay. Okay, why was the hot air balloon business not doing well?
To inflation.
That's a good one, but no. It actually, well, the joke I have is because it didn't take off.
All right, that was good. Why does a nosy pepper? What does a nosy pepper do?
A nosy pepper?
What does a nosy pepper do?
Run?
It gets all up in your business.
Okay. Why was the worker fired from the juice factory?
I don't know. Tell me.
She couldn't concentrate.
Yeah. How does Moses make tea?
He boils it?
He brews.
Where is it?
Okay. Why is money termed as due?
I'm not sure.
Because everybody needs it.
Bruh.
Like how you need bread? Yeah, everybody needs to do.
I get it. It was just.
I am sure that you indeed got a little laugh this afternoon. And if perhaps you think that you have better jokes, then join the school family at USC and bring them. We are waiting to hear your jokes. I want to remind you to post your questions in the chat, be it YouTube, Facebook. We want to hear your questions, and we are prepared to answer your questions. So please post them there so that we can get to them and to share more information with you. At this time, I want to return to the Dean, Ms. Legal, and she is going to share some additional information with you. Now, when she spoke to us first, we were given so much information. So be prepared this afternoon as we turn you over again to Dean Legal.
Beautiful indeed. Thank you so much again, Mrs. Fullerton. It's me again, just me. All right, so this afternoon, we just want to tell you quickly a little bit about our school. So I'm just going to give a quick overview and I'm going to hand it over to one of our chairpersons, Ms. Sidena. So in the School of Business, if you have a pencil or pen or you're on your device and you could jot it down, feel free to do that. So we have degrees in management, we have degrees in hospitality, we have degrees in HR, we have degrees in marketing, we also have degrees in accounting, we have degrees in finance, and we have degrees in economics. And who knows, if you stay tuned, you might be hearing more if you join the School of Business as we go forward. So we know that you may be interested in one of those, or one of those tickles your fancy. Some of them you may have done at SEC, some of them you may have done at A levels. So it's great. And remember I told you before, and if you came in late, you may have heard me talk about before, you may have heard me talk a little bit about me starting doing my degree in accounting. But then I changed it over. Now I'm not suggesting that you need to do that, okay? Because my colleague, Ms. Sideno, will probably look at me a little cross-eyed. But really and truly, I'm suggesting that you can do You can start with one, and if you decide maybe something else, you may have an opportunity to change. But if you need advice as to which one to choose, it's all well and good. And if you're interested, we will tell you how you can get in contact with us at the university, and we can give you some more information to consider before you make your decision. So allow me now to hand you over to Ms. Sideno, and she is one of our chief accountants on staff, and she teaches with us, and she's a chairperson, and she's going to share with you a bit more information about how you can further choose and make a decision for which program may be right for you. Ms. Sideno, I hand it over now to you.
Good afternoon to everyone. Thanks to Ms. Ligor for the introduction. And yes, I'm going to share with you a little bit more about the School of Business and Entrepreneurship, about the programs we're offering, and things to look out for when you are doing your degree with us, right? So she mentioned the different degrees that we offer, but they actually fall under two separate departments. And I'm the chairperson of the Accounting, Finance, and Economics. But there's the other department, which is the Management, Marketing, Human Resource, and Hospitality. We fondly call it the MMHH department, and the Accounting, Finance, and Economics department is the AFE department. So under the MMH department, we actually offer management, a BBA in management, a BBA in marketing, a BBA in human resource management, a BBA in hospitality and tourism. And then under the accounting, finance, and economics, which is actually in the name, there we have a BS in accounting, a BS in economics, and a BBA in finance. And let's go a little bit more into what each of these programs entail. So for those interested in management, this is one of our popular degrees, and it's mainly a generalized degree showing you how to manage any business. We give you the basic tools that you will need. So you know you're going to get some accounting there. You're going to be doing some decision making, some entrepreneurship, strategic management. Those are the kind of courses you will be introduced to when you're doing a management degree. For those who are interested in marketing, we here teach our students how to collect, analyze, evaluate this information, and find solutions for customers and the marketing environment. Jobs you can look forward to when doing the marketing degree would be like advertising account executive and a marketing manager. When we look at the human resource management program, these students are going to be exposed to employment law, compensation, health and safety concerns, employee relations and the development, as well as staffing, organizations, and industrial relationships. All right, so you could look for jobs in the area of benefits administrator, training manager, HRIS specialist, employee relations manager, compensation specialist, and industrial relation administrator. And if you really enjoy human resource and you want to become a professional in the field, then we have some certifications that you can look forward for in the future, not right after you finish your degree program. I was informed that this professional certification required to get some experience in human resource. So you need to get that experience under your belt, because they're going to be testing you not only on the theoretical aspects of human resource, but how you have contributed to human resource and practical aspects that you could only benefit from when you're in the field itself. Okay, so it's something to look forward in the future if you're interested in pursuing a professional certification in human resource management. Our fourth degree, that is under the MMHH department, hospitality and tourism management. Our students will be exposed to policies regarding tourism, activities of hotel and guest services industry, restaurant industry, and food and beverage considerations. You're looking at jobs in the hotel management field, event planning, food and beverage operations, and front office management. Now, when you go over to the AFE department, we're going to be looking at firstly accounting. So, of course, accounting is what we will consider to be the language of business. Everything is stated in terms of dollars and cents. So we're going to introduce topics like financial accounting that is recognized or demanded by the financial institutions. We're going to be talking about management accounting. So, you know, when we're talking about making decisions and determining how your business is performing and reaching certain goals, that's involved in management accounting. We're looking at taxation and auditing, just to name a few of the areas when we're dealing with the accounting degree. Of course, there are so many jobs in the accounting field, because whenever you go on a newspaper, you will always see something there for accounts. So they have the accounts clerk, you have auditors, you have taxation experts, you have the payroll clerk, you have the accounting assistant, managerial accountant, forensic accountant, for those who like the legal aspect of accounting. And accounting is heavily guarded by the professional certifications. So somewhat similar to HR, but not as intense. Of course, you have the ACCA, which is most popular within this region. The CPA is the American version to it. The CMA has to do with managerial accounting, and the CIA has to do with internal auditing. So if you want to have these certifications and be recognized in the accounting field, you need to not only pass these exams, but you have to work for some time under someone who's qualified with those titles, and then you would be also awarded those titles, okay? Then you go to BS in economics. So the mission of the economics program is to educate our students in both the practical and theoretical aspects of production, resource allocation, wealth distribution, and other such areas. So I was talking to an economic lecturer, and he was saying that economics, really asks questions about why government would allocate resources to certain programs. Is it being effective? How do we measure that? Why didn't they allocate it to something else? So they try to come up with solutions to societal problems, and also try to force government to be accountable for how they're spending the taxpayers' monies. Right, so careers in economics can take you all over the world, working with governments, central banks, the IMF, the World Bank, Development Bank, in areas like risk analysis, research analysis, data analysis, and even if you want to be an economics teacher. And then finance, our final program here. So students are exposed to areas such as financial planning, investment decision, money management, analyzing financial statements, and even real estate. Finance is known to be about managing money. So if you have an interest in how to manage money and make more money out of it, knowing the best place to get loans, the best place to invest your money, this is the kind of course for you. You're not really wanting to keep records of everything like accounting. Right? You just want to know, okay, what do we have available? How do I get more money? How do I use what we have to make more money? Then you're looking at the field of finance. So there we have jobs like the financial analysis, financial manager, financial planner, work in real estate. You can do investment banking and portfolio management. The professional certification to go along with this degree is the CFA. Now, all our programs are GATE funded. That's wonderful news. All our programs are GATE funded, but GATE do have certain criteria that they hold us to as the public. So I kind of place it down below based on your household income, how much you're eligible for. And not only that, we have to understand that at this point, GATE is only funding one degree. So for some persons who might be interested in a double major or double degree, keep in mind that GATE is only going to be funding one. Or if you let's say you're doing management degree and you saw something in finance, a course in finance that is not part of your program that you're interested in doing, GATE is not going to pay for those extra courses. So it's also important that you pay attention to what is required by your program, because that is what GATE is going to be paying for. Also want to point out that we don't want to be failing any courses. GATE is paying for us to be productive and to give back to our society. Failing a course does not accomplish that. So whenever you fail a course, that means now you have to find your own money to pay to do over that course. And we don't want that for you. We want successful students to go through the university and do well in all their courses. Now, when you continually fail your courses, there's a grade that is points that is added to each of your grades, the highest being 4. So if you get all A's, you will have a 4.0. GPA stands for grade point average, right? So a 3 kind of represents B's. A C would be 2. 2.0 represents C's. Once you start your overall grade being below a C, then GATE will no longer pay for your program. So you need to try to keep those grades up. Do your best in everything, and I'm going to talk a little bit about success strategies later on, so that you would not have anything to worry about when it comes to GATE. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to talk about here is some helpful information that will help you navigate through USC, School of Business in particular. So each student that comes in will be given an advisor. The first 2 years, there's a student advisor that is assigned to you, and that student advisor will guide you through the process, help you select courses. If you have any concerns, you go to them and they will try to sort it out on your behalf, right? So the advisor is someone that's very important. As you pass your first 2 years, then a lecturer is going to become your advisor to help you finish your degree. Okay, so the Student Advisement Center will handle new students for the first 2 years, and then they will carry you on to a lecturer in that particular department, and that lecturer will guide you towards the end of your program. Now, each of our degrees carries 128 credits. Now, what is a credit? Well, a credit is a form of explaining how long or how many minutes will be applied to a class for the week. So a credit is about 50 minutes, right? And one class, the general number of credits assigned to a class is 3 credits. So 50 minutes by 3 is going to work out to be 2 hours and a half. So for the week, one class is going to give you 2.5 hours of course content. Now, at USC, we don't have one session that lasts 2.5 hours. We want to, take as much of your, we don't want you to get tired mentally, right? So we split it up in 2. So you're either going to have the same class Monday or Wednesday, or you will have it on Tuesday or Thursdays for 1 hour and 15 minutes each. Still adds up to the 2.5 hours, but we break it down for you, so it's easier to take in, right? So some classes are 1 credit, others are 2. Majority of the courses will be 3 credits, and 1 or 2 will be 4 credits once they have a lab associated with it. Now, if you do a regular load, it usually takes you about 4 years to complete our program. And we have 2 major semesters. We have semester 1, which starts in a short while in September, end of August, September to December. And semester 2 begins in January and it goes on until April. Now, when you were in secondary school, you had 3 terms, right? So you had 3 different sessions for the year. At university, they're mainly, at our university in particular, they're mainly 2 semesters. So once you do your courses within those 2 semesters, full loads, you'll be able to finish within the 4 years. However, I have good news. We have added a short semester, 3rd semester. That usually takes place May to July. It's much shorter. But if you take advantage of the 3rd semester, what a lot of students have been able to accomplish is that they are able to complete their program within 3 years. So they cut it down from 4 years to 3 years. Now, I have right below part-time versus full-time students. Now, a part-time will be those who are working and they're just able to come and take classes whenever they're off work. Now, having that 3rd semester also helps them because they have to manage work, family, school, so they may not be able to take a full load throughout the regular semesters. So they can catch up with this 3rd semester and possibly finish within the 4 years that is allotted for a particular degree. Right, so full-time students are those who are not working. They can do courses any time of the day, and they are more than able to finish their coursework within the 4 years and possibly push for 3. Now, Ms. Ward, Dr. Ward had mentioned earlier that we have different delivery modes. So before COVID, we had face-to-face. So that's when you come into the classroom and you interact with the lecturer and the students and we learn off from one another. Of course, COVID asks for social distancing. So instead of coming into the classroom, we came on to Zoom. So that's, we called it remote. So the students will come onto Zoom, meet their lecturer, and the lecturer will facilitate learning through Zoom, right? Online is another option, which is ideal mainly for working people who, you know, their time isn't as flexible. So they can go online and do their courses whenever they have time, because the lecturer would load everything online on a particular forum. They will go in, put your assignments, put your reading, put the videos, everything associated with your course requirements will be online, and you as a student will just go in when you have time and get those assignments and projects and exams done online. The caution I have with online is that if you are not a disciplined person, you would find that a few weeks have gone and you forgot to check your online course, and then you realize, oh my, all these assignments are piled up on me. How am I going to finish this? Or you would have gotten 0 for assignments that were overdue. So unless you are a very disciplined person, then online might not be the best thing for you. But there's another delivery mode that can help introduce you more to online learning, and that is what we call blended. So blended, remember I told you with regular classes, you meet twice a week, Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, or Thursday, right? So with blended, one day of the week you meet with your lecturer, and the other day you meet online, or the lecturer puts work for you online, and you do the work there, right? So you don't fully get rid of face-to-face, and you're not fully online. You still have interaction with other students and with the lecturers, but only once for the week. Now, what do we require for persons to come into and do a program with the School of Business and Entrepreneurship? The minimum requirement, talking about the minimum, is that you have 5 CSEC passes, and they must include both English and mathematics, because, you know, we're dealing with figures here. So we need you to be kind of comfortable with working out using figures. Okay, so English, mathematics, and 3 other courses, and you're in. If you're a matured student, then you can have 3 CSEC subjects, including English, and you also have to do the university certification, and you will be able to be accepted into the university, right? Now, we have persons, of course, that have higher than CSEC. You have A levels, you have degrees maybe with other institutions, or maybe you've started a program with another tertiary level institution and you didn't complete it for whatever the reason is. You can bring those credits or some of those credits to USC, and we give you transfer of credits, meaning if you did accounting in another university, then you don't have to come over and do accounting again. If you did accounting for CAPE and you passed, then when you come to USC, we don't require you to cover the same content. We want to develop you beyond that. Since you already have that level, we will take you beyond that and we will give you transfer of credits. And of course, if you're excited and want to start and apply one time, I placed the link right there for you, usc.edu.tt, that you can go right ahead and apply. Now, last thing I want to tell you about coming to USC School of Business is how to succeed. First thing is, I would like you to choose a program that you're interested in. I teach in accounting, so you might hear me refer to it often, but I have had students who came and they did accounting maybe because their parents wanted them to do accounting and they weren't happy. And eventually they had to change their program because it wasn't something that they were interested in. Accounting in particular is something that you have to love to do because it can get tedious and boring, right? But that goes for all the different disciplines. If you love something, it will be a joy to do it. And you look forward to the class. If it's something you don't like, then it will be burdensome. Not to say you cannot learn, you can learn from everything. But it's better, it's sweeter when it's something you enjoy. I would also suggest that you be organized. Plan out, okay, this is the time for my classes. This is the time I'm going to study and do my assignments. Stick to it. Don't just plan it out like some of us will do budgets and then don't bother with the budgets. But plan out your time, your schedule, and then stick to it so that you'll be able to accomplish your goals, right? We will recommend all the time that after class, go over your notes. Keep it fresh in your mind. We find sometimes that when we cover a topic and we want to continue it in the next class, students forget or they don't even remember what was covered in the previous class. We want to encourage you to go over the notes so it'll be fresh. So we're moving on from where we left off. And if you can do advanced reading, better yet, because you coming prepared to the class. That's ideally what we would want. You come prepared to class and we can have a wonderful discussion because you already know what we're going to cover in the next class. Okay, we've mentioned some co-curricular activities like we have the club, different clubs. We have debate teams. Get involved with those activities. They will broaden your scope. It won't only be academics. You have other things. We have the student body. Get involved with them. It will expand your horizon. But while you're doing all those things, please know your limits. Don't overdo it. Don't try to do everything and try to rush down your degree in 3 years. Know what you can handle. Because I have seen students push themselves so much, such brilliant students, and they almost drop out of the program because they get burnt out if they're not able to handle it. So know what you can cope with. Be realistic with yourself. We want you to get involved with these things, but do it in a temperate manner. Always do your assignments and projects. That is not an option, right? Always, and send them in on time, even before better, right? Plan ahead. Right now, Ms. Ligo mentioned devices are essential. You need a device. Plan how you're gonna get that device. Plan which device you're going to get. What are the various costs for the various devices, right? You're going into reasoning here. and problem solving. Figure out what you need, how you're going to get it, what is the best way to get there. And then when you get it, take care of it. We don't want it falling down and breaking because you need it, right? Get to know your lecturers, get to know them. I found that students who take the time to speak to their lecturers, they are more comfortable in class. They have a better idea of what the lecturers are looking for. When sometimes students don't talk and we just don't see them, we don't know what's going on with them. But if you let us know, you know, I'm sick today, I can't come out, then we will be able to move accordingly. We are caring lecturers. We want to help you. We don't want to be unfair, but we could only know what's taking place if you let us talk to us, okay? And all the lecturers I know at the School of Business are what we call very open with our students. We are approachable and students feel comfortable talking with us. Always communicate with your advisor. Your advisor is your guide. Your advisor is your guide. You will also have a sheet guiding you as to what courses you need to do, but you also check in with your advisor and they would make sure you follow it correctly so you graduate when you need to graduate, right? Sometimes friends come and say, come do this course now. I'm sure you could try to get it off. Careful with that. Double check with your advisor. It might be good advice, but it's better to be safe than sorry. And finally, I always want to put God first. I have heard so many stories from students who had trouble with certain courses, but they placed it before God and God helped them through. Actually, just the other day, I heard a story of a student doing, creating an app, and he did not know how to figure it out. And he prayed and he prayed. The assignment was due the next day. And he went to sleep. And while he was dreaming, God revealed to him what he needed to do. He got up and he wrote it down on the pad. The next day, his bed, he went back and sleep. And in the morning, he followed exactly what was on the pad and it worked out. Praise the Lord. God works for us in mysterious ways. So remember, he's the source of knowledge. So go to him, and he will guarantee you success. Now, I've said a lot of things, but sometimes seeing is, you know, you believe more. So right now, I want to let them show you a video of what activities the School of Business have been involved with. And we want to show you what you can possibly be involved with when you join us.
for that useful information. Thank you so much, Miss Sedano. You really did share a lot of information, and that video tied it all together. We can see that the School of Business is a fun school. It's an exciting school, and I'm sure that you are really making that decision there in Facebook land and there on YouTube. You are making your decision all now to become part of the School of Business. I want to turn you back over to Miss Legal again, and she has an introduction, and she's going to share a little bit more about an exciting feature that is coming up next. Miss Legal.
Thank you very much indeed. Exciting indeed. I'm so privileged this afternoon to introduce. So let's go right into it. So we have our president/CEO in the house this evening. And you know, business is both serious and fun. So let's talk a little bit about that. Mr. Dano introduced us to the serious, important things. Let's talk about who's next. Mr. Fitzroy Haywood is the current president of Point Lisa's Nitrogen Limited, an ammonia manufacturing facility located in Point Lisa's Industrial Estate, North Trinidad. Now, I want you to listen carefully to see what kind of degrees he has. How did he become a CEO? What kind of knowledge got him to where he is today? So we want to focus on the knowledge part as we are in a university setting. Mr. Haywood has over 35 years of technical, managerial, and leadership experience in oil, gas, power, and petrochemical industries. In 1986, he joined the Trinidad and Tobago Oil Company Limited, called Trinta, a predecessor company of Petroleum Company of Trinidad and Tobago Limited, PetroTrin, as a project engineer, an engineer with business background. Well, listen to find out more. After 10 years, he moved to the Hydro Agri Trinidad Limited, which later became Yara Trinidad Limited, as an assistant manager engineering. In that organization, he served in various positions of increasing responsibility, including 3 years as human resources manager. Did you not hear that he was an engineer? Then he went into assistant manager. Then he was in human resource management. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, education is important. Then he culminated in being a production manager before moving on to Power Gen Company of Trinidad and Tobago Limited to take up the position of general manager from December 2011 to October 2015. On 2015, November 1, he was appointed the position of president of PetroChin and served in that position until his resignation at the end of February 2018. In June 2018, he assumed the position of president of Point Lisa's Nitrogen Limited. Mr. Haywood is a graduate of the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine, with a BSc degree in electrical and computer engineering, and has a postgraduate diploma in management studies, along with an MBA, Masters of Business Administration, from Andrews University, of which USC is affiliated with in Michigan, USA. His professional memberships include the American Chamber of Commerce of Trinidad and Tobago, Energy Chamber of Trinidad and Tobago, Society of Human Resource Management, Project Management Institute, and Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers. Now you understand how having a good educational foundation can propel you to the top. So ladies and gentlemen, this afternoon, I'm very pleased to introduce a mentor of mine and good friend, Mr. Haywood. Mr. Haywood, it's over to you.
Thank you, Ms. Legal. That sounds impressive on paper, I suppose. But so my good afternoon, everyone. In particular to the officers of USC who are here this afternoon, and we're really doing a very good job of promoting the institution and higher education in a whole, which we can have enough of in Trinidad and Tobago, certainly as we go forward. So my task this afternoon is really to speak to the prospective students and give you a sense, if you will, of some highlights, some key things that I would like you to focus on as you go forward, and to see how your education, your pursuit of a tertiary education certification is going to help you as you go forward. All right, so I'll share my screen and I'll pick up the points as we go along. Of course, if later on there are any questions, feel free to raise them with us, right? So really, I want to talk today about preparing yourself for the business world and the job market. And of course, we are part of the Open Day with USC. And I really, again, want to commend the university for taking this initiative, if you will, to give you a holistic sense of what is possible as you prepare yourselves to make this transition. Some things I'd like you to consider today is to really consider as you prepare yourselves for the business world and for the job market, is to ask yourself, why is this degree you're going to pursue at USC? Why is that important? How is that going to help you along the way? I mean, it's obvious. Mr. Leno did a pretty good job of outlining some of the things that will happen as you go along. But we want to talk a little bit about the world and how things work. And I'll just pull one or two examples to give you a teaser as you go forward, all right? We want to also talk about the value of intimate knowledge and cross-competence, developing essential professional skills, the importance of mentors. Ms. Ligol said I'm one of her mentors. I'm privileged if that is indeed the case, all right? Because she's very accomplished herself. But we want to talk about mentors, if you will, and then, of course, cultivating a curious mindset. Think about this slide. I mean, if I just stop here, that'll be enough for today. But it's important to know that when you pursue a tertiary education, it's important. You're not just doing it because your parents want you to do it. You're at the stage now where it's beyond what your parents wish. It's really about what you want to do. Is this something you want to do? Is this something you are passionate about? Is this something that will give you intimate knowledge that you can share when you go out in the world of work? And then as you do it, what sort of professional skills are you going to develop along the way? What sort of professional challenges would you face along the way? What are some of the things you need, if you will, that will give you all that is required as you go forward in life, all right? And that is extremely important. And then is it important to have people along the way to coach you, to act as a mentor, to guide you? I think that is extremely important. I can tell you that that long list that Ms. Ligol talked about, I didn't get to those different positions without mentors. There were people who said to me, you can do it. There were people who said to me, when you have trouble, come and talk to me and I'll help you. You need to have mentors in your career development. Are there people within your home, within your families, within your communities you can go to and they could give you the right guidance, right? And if you can't identify those people in your home circle, I think you heard that there would be supervisors and guidance officers and people who provide advisory services to you at the University of the Southern Caribbean. So they can become your mentors and they are more than willing to do that. I know there's also some conversations about taking people who are in the industry who can provide support to you, and that is going to develop along the way. And certainly you can reach out to certain people in the industry, like myself if you wish, and we can provide mentorship along the way. And then will you remain curious? When your degree is over, would you stop and say, wow, this is over, no more? All right, and it's important to understand those things. In looking at what we discussed a while ago, I wanted to anchor your thoughts, if you will, around what we refer to sometimes as the amazing story of Captain Scully, Chelsea's Cullenberger, right? There's a movie out on this called Scully, just by the name Scully. And this was a few years ago. I think it was 2012 or maybe 2011, 2012, when there was a plane, a commercial airliner, heading into Washington Dulles Airport, and a flock of birds, just as they took off, I should say, they were leaving Dulles Airport. So they were on an inter-US flight from one state to the next. And as they left Dulles Airport and the plane became airborne, a flock of birds, I like to refer to them as a flock of 10-pound birds, 12-pound birds. They flew into the engine and got sucked in. And these powerful gas turbines that spin at tremendous speeds to create the thrust to carry the aeroplane up in the air and maintain its altitude, if you will. These engines were compromised. That's a nice way of saying they were completely damaged while airborne. So that while airborne, the pilot basically lost his 2 engines. So there is now no more power to thrust the aircraft forward or to keep it up in the air. There was a need for it to land as quickly as possible with whatever mechanical power was available. Interestingly, the natural instinct of all airline people and aerospace people at that time was to say, turn the plane around. As a matter of fact, the air traffic controllers were saying to the Captain Sullenberger, turn the plane around and head back to the airport. But he knew instinctively that notwithstanding that is the best advice, that he didn't have enough trust to carry, and this is not trust in the sense of faith, but he didn't simply have the mechanical capacity within the plane to carry him that far without a major crash landing in the airport. And so Captain Chelsea Sullenberger decided to use the Hudson River, which is a river, a very cold river, but a very calm bit of water in Washington, D.C. And he flew the plane and landed on the Hudson River. All passengers on board were saved. There are YouTube videos on this. You could go and look at it yourselves. I don't want to play it today for time, but you can go and look at it. And it's really an amazing story. And then I told it became a full-time movie later on. Now, that alone would be a powerful story. But when we go behind the scenes, what we found out is that Sullenberger, Captain Scully, is a part-time glider pilot. A glider pilot are one of those people who would take planes that are built without engines, and they would fly them from a high precipice in the mountains, in the open land in the US. And it will basically act as a glider and ride the air currents, if you will, until they can maneuver the rudders and stuff, and it lands safely. This was something that Captain Scully did in his spare time as a hobby. And it became handy when the plane was in crisis. My point I want to make to you today is that when you attend the University of the Southern Caribbean and you pursue careers in HR or in accounting or in economics, it's important that you learn what is before you very well and develop a passion for it, because you never know when that becomes important. As a CEO in the industry, I look to a lot of my managers and employees, and when we have a crisis or we have something that pops up, I look through the sheets and see who have certain specialties. And so if we have a trouble understanding an accounting concept with the auditors, we look within the organization and say, who are our best accountants, who have good degrees in accounting? And we pull them in the room and we have them give us their opinions about how things should work. When we are trying to figure out what will happen in the market and whether or not this industry will last and do we have a future, we turn to our employees who are schooled in economics, who understand, and even if they are not employees, but we turn to people who are practicing macroeconomics in the world out there, and we ask them, what do you think about the economy of Trinidad and Tobago or the world? Because this is now a world where it's not just Trinidad and Tobago, you are really becoming citizens of the world, because you know more than I do that the world is now a global space. You all have Facebook, you all have Instagram, you all have Snapchat and all the various platforms on Twitter, and you can sit within your home and correspond with people all over the world. And some of us even have virtual interviews where you can work in countries in your own, while you're in Trinidad, you can be working in a foreign country, because we have come to appreciate a sort of distance engagement where you don't have to physically be at the office to provide support for organizations. If the people we turn to as a CEO, and I turn to somebody but they don't know what they are talking about, then I have a real problem on my hands. So the miracle of the Hudson is a reinforcement that whatever your chosen field, this pilot chose to become a glider pilot and never thought it would become something handy he would use later on. But when the plane was in crisis, his schooling went beyond just being a pilot, but it went to what he learned as a glider pilot. As you enter into university and you're preparing for the business world and the job market, learn what is in front of you well. I like to say, grow where you are planted. As you enter University of the Southern Caribbean and you go through your advisors and you make a choice, don't vacillate. Don't change your mind tomorrow morning. Pick a subject and then run with it to the end. Go through the classes and have lecturers who can speak to you and make you understand. And then when you find what is important, learn it well, become intimate with it. I'll come to that next. So that when you do that, you are well prepared to do well in the future. Because as an employer in the world of work on the outside, we look for young people who do well in their university years. And we also, I just want to emphasize a point I heard Mr. Deno raise, which he talked about getting involved in debating societies and other clubs, etc. We also look for all-round students. Are you willing to bring more than just what you have learned? This pilot brought more to the business of piloting than just operated engines. He understood aerodynamics to the point that he could glide a powerful plane without engines onto the Hudson River and save the lives of a lot of people. The other thing I wanted to emphasize with you today is to recognize that in today's world, there's a lot of conversation around innovation. And a lot of you as young business students, you keep hearing this buzzword innovation. You all think you could be the next Steve Jobs, you could invent a new stuff. But I want to tell you that before you become inventive and before you become innovative, you must know your craft and know it well. This weekend, we saw a young lady from Jamaica, she's pictured here, who was able to run the fastest a woman has ever run outside of Florence Griffith Joyner in 1988. So right now, Elaine Thompson-Hira is the fastest woman alive. She is not a flash in the pan. She didn't come out of nowhere. We know her. As a matter of fact, this morning, she repeated something that has not been done for a long, long time, as much as 45 years ago. She is the first woman since 45 years ago to repeat gold medals in the 100 meters and the 200 meters in successive Olympics. What does that tell us? It tells us that if she could have won a gold medal 5 years ago, she is familiar with running. She understands running. In the Jamaican trials, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price, who I have a great amount of admiration for and I love a lot. Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price won the Jamaican trials and was really successful. And everybody wrote off Elaine Thompson-Hira. But she is a woman who is intimate with athletics. She understands her body. She knows when to run hard and when not to run hard. She knows when to turn on the pressure versus when not to turn on the pressure. One of the announcers spoke to her this morning and asked her, how come you are able to run so fast? And she said, you know, in the heats, she would like to slow down because it's just a heat and it's not the final. But the speed gets the better of her because she's so in a groove and she's so ready to do it. So she's able to, I think if you can run 10.61 as a woman in 100 meters, that is innovation at the highest. Because before her, nobody was getting in that kind of range, right? And maybe Shelly-Ann in the last trials in the US. So they are good because they are intimate with what they are involved in. And so if you are fascinated with innovation and you get caught up in the buzzwords and you want to be an innovator in today's world and you want to build the next app and you want to make things so great and you want to be the next breakthrough performer in business world, pay attention to your chosen profession. Learn it well. And when you learn it well, you are ready to perform on the world stage. We, as a Caribbean, we can't help but be proud about Jamaica because while the rest of the world will say that the athletes are training in the US in the colleges, or they're training in Europe. The Jamaicans train at home, and they train so well. These two girls train in clubs that are based in Jamaica, and they are able to rule the world. And that is a powerful reminder that in this Trinidad and Tobago that you are joining in Maracas, St. Joseph, if you take your craft seriously, if you listen to what your lecturers are saying, if you research yourself, if you become intimate with the accounting rules and standards, if you understand macroeconomics to the point where things are happening, then you're in a position to make an impact on the world. Because the business world that you are entering we are looking for subject matter experts. We're looking for people who understand what they are doing and are able to do the best. So let the success of these girls inspire us to do more. And then I want to remind you that the world in which you are entering is a changing world. So what are some of the big ticket items? Well, there is a huge energy transition going on. Maybe by the time you graduate, you will have an electric car. I went to a gas station in South Trinidad just last week. And it's a Unipet station. It's actually run by a guy who has an MBA from the Andrews University and the University of the Southern Caribbean, another colleague of mine. And they now have an electric charging station at the Unipet gas station in South, so that they are catering for electric cars. There's a change going on in our world. How do you account for that? What is the economics around that? How do you manage people who will now work in that? What are the things you need to learn that will help you be a part of this growing industry? Is Trinidad shifting towards this energy transition? Are we awakening to this issue of climate change? We saw the floods in Germany a few weeks ago. We saw Dominica get battered with a hurricane a few years ago. We saw floods in India and in China. We saw the wildfires in Australia and in East and in Western America. You experience the heat here in Trinidad. There are floods in Port of Spain this very afternoon while we are having this session. So are you going to be sensitive to climate change? And are you going to just do biology and environmental, or as you do business, are you going to understand how climate change is impacting business? And as you study at the University of the Caribbean, are you going to open yourself up for that? And then the other thing is to appreciate that technology has now created what I like to call global mass access. So as your lecturers teach you, you have access to a whole repertoire of information that is available online that you can use to enhance what you learn in the classroom. And therefore, as young students, you shouldn't just use Snapchat and Twitter to carry gossip and to talk about your friends and who look nice, but you can use it to get information. What is the World Economic Forum saying about business in this time? What are they tweeting? What are they putting on their Instagram site? What are they putting on their Facebook site? How is that helping as you study accounting and you understand the rules around making provisions for certain things that are occurring in business? How are you seeing that manifested in the industry? How do you keep abreast of the world that is taking place around you? So by the time you come out, you already seen applications of what you have studied. And then as you enter into the world of business, understand that data analytics becomes extremely important. So I hope that you're not coming into the School of Business and shying away from the quantitative classes, because the world expects that you are able to do analytical work and that you're able to take data that you have researched or you are presented it or you're seeing trends and figure out how to deal with that. If you're in a business, I saw some stores closing down over the weekend, and some of them said that, curbside pickup is not enough for them. Do they have data to support that? Some of them said they do, and that their cash situation does not allow them to continue in that regard. As a business leader, you need to be able to represent that with data if you're coming to shareholders or to a board to make powerful decisions like that. And then you need to appreciate that the world is really changing to the point where there's a growth in service industries, there's a growth in facilitated entrepreneurs. So you have to figure out what can you do or bring to the market if you're not going to work for somebody. But at the same time, it's not it's not all glory, and it doesn't look all nice and shiny. There's some hard work required, and that hard work comes from the degree that you have done, because people are valuing specializations and they want people who understand certain things. If you're going into HR, do you understand people and what people need and how they are best managed? Should you allow for compulsory and mandatory vaccinations versus allowing people to be persuaded? What is the data on that? Is it just an emotional thing? Are there laws in Trinidad and Tobago that allow that to happen or don't allow it to happen? What does your HR theory tell you about whether that is going to be sustainable? Those are the kind of things that we look to when you're faced with those challenges in the workplace and you say to people who work from home, what is the data that says, well, that is also effective? How do people deal with fatigue in the workplace if they're working from home, and how do they deal with burnout, etc.? What are the pros and cons? Should you bring them out more to the office or leave them more at home? Is blended the future or not? What does the data say? So it's really about understanding that when you get a tertiary education and the step you are making today, you can no longer be a superficial talker. You can't talk rum shop talk, as a friend of mine used to say. You have to now talk with substance. And then you need to appreciate that we live in what I like to refer to an acronym as a VUCA world. You know, the world is volatile, it's uncertain, it's complex, and it's ambiguous. Things are changing every day. All right, and you need to be able to deal with that. We thought that vaccine was the answer, and that if you got vaccines, then the world will open back up. Well, the world starts to open back up, and we are hit with a Delta variant. And now we are thinking that maybe we need to go back to some of the provisions we had in the past, because while the Delta may not be so severe on vaccinated persons, the fact is people become infected. Are people ready to deal with that level of infection? So disruptions are a key part of that going forward. It's important also to realize that when you go out in the world of work, that one size does not fit all. You know, in the old days, in the 70s and the 80s, if you got a degree from a university, you're almost sure to get a job. Well, today that's no longer the case, right? Because every Tom, Dick, and Harry has a degree. So what is going to differentiate you when you go out in the world of work? Well, you need to think about the situations. If there are people looking for accountants, are you a good accountant? Do you have a specialty that you have learned in USC? Have you augmented your major with a minor that helps you? If you're doing HR, have you also studied behavioral psychology, for instance? Or if you're doing HR, have you done economics? Which may very well, you may think it looks like a strange combination, but it may very well help an employer who is very small and trying to understand the macroeconomic environment and do different things. So all of those things are things that work together. So as a young person going in, you need to have, under all that is happening in the world of work, you need to have some vision, you need to have an understanding and a clarity, and then you need to be agile. You need to be able to move quickly to what is facing you as you go forward. You need to learn from executives. So I could tell you my own experiences, but I could also refer you to some good books. So The Corner Office by Adam Bryant is one such good book. And he classified, he summarized some of the key points of successful executives, which I endorse because I practice it in my own life. And that is, we must become curious all the time and be passionate about curiosity. You must always be asking yourself, why? What caused this? Are there some things that I need to do or not do? Are there things that I need to find out? Why is this happening? Why are my employees not responding? Why are my customers not responding? Why is curbside pickup not helping out? Why are some people, when we open the doors at KFC, not rushing in? And so you have to have a passionate curiosity, because you need to study and learn beyond just what you have learned in the university. By the way, going to the University of the Southern Caribbean gives you some really good skills. You will learn to research. You will learn to précis and put information together in an essay to pass an exam. But that skill is going to become important in the world of work, because when you come to work in the real world and you have a CEO like me, I may tell you, I don't want to hear what everybody is saying. I want you to distill what everybody has said and give me what is applicable to us in a paragraph or two. So that is some of the skills you learn in the university are applicable in the world of work. When you do that, and you do well in your exams and you study, then you become confident. I call it battle-hardened confidence. He calls it the same thing as well, in that you have been so exposed to this world of work and the world of studying and the world of research and the world of knowing how to get to academic sources, that you are now in a place, you are confident that you can make certain things happen. And then let me say to you that nobody is going to hire you on a sustainable level. So even if we made a mistake and hired you initially, when we find out that you cannot work with anybody, that you always throw your colleagues under the bus, that you always blame somebody else for the mistakes you make and you don't own up for it, and you don't have team skills, then you're not going to be employed for too long. So learn to be a team, learn to work in groups, learn to work in teams, learn to join in sports. I saw pictures of people being involved in games and things. That is important. And then learn to keep life simple. Don't be too overly complex. Try to be simple. Try to understand what is important. Because now you are moving into the world of work, and I guarantee you that stimuli is going to come at you from all form of fashion, and you have to figure out where you land. And then finally, you need to be fearless. Fearless means that you are not afraid to face the new world. So Ms. Legal read out my bio, if you will, and you know that I took on different jobs. Some of them were jobs I had no inkling or exposure before. Maybe I did. So I had to be able to take those things confidently, because fearlessness is an important part of what we do, right? Being brave, not be afraid to take on new challenges. And then you need to have a passion for learning. There's a story I was told about Socrates, which is what this picture is meant to depict. The old sage in the Greek world, who he was standing by a beach one day, and a young man came to him and he says, "Wise Socrates, wise Socrates, how can I have as much knowledge as you have?" And Socrates took him out to the sea and held his head below the water until he couldn't breathe anymore and he was fighting up. And then he let him go. When the guy came up, he wanted to hit the old man some good hard lash, as you would say in the Caribbean. And then after he spat out some water from his throat and stuff, he turned to Socrates and he said, "Why did you do that?" And Socrates said to him, "When you were below that water, what did you want the most?" And he said, "I wanted air so I could breathe." And Socrates said to him, "When you want knowledge as much as you wanted air, then you become as wise as I am." In other words, if we have a quest for knowledge, if we have a quest for wanting to know what is going on around us, then that is a key requisite, a passion, not just academic knowledge to pass the exams, but a passion to understand what is presented, then you will do well. And finally, I want to say to you, embrace the unknown, which is part of the fearlessness thing, and challenge your assumptions. There's a lovely little movie called Smallfoot that is shown in all the streaming media and on some of the movie platforms and stuff. And it's about a little group of I don't know, creatures who were now exposed to humans, and humans were exposed to them, and how they deal with assumptions. You could go and look that up. I think some people have seen it already. But it looks like a nice story to just pass some time and get into some escapism. But this is an allegory. It's no different to Gulliver in Lilliput, which was about Animal Farm by George Orwell. It's an allegory. It's an allegory about how you deal with challenges, how you deal with the unknown, how you deal with what was familiar but wrong, things that you grew up with that you thought that is the only way to get it done. But as you study, you learn more. As students who are studying in the University of the Southern Caribbean, you need to really develop a passion to challenge what you have known in the past. Check your assumptions and see if they stand out. And I guarantee you that university life is the place where you ask questions. If any place you should be asking questions, this is not seventh form. This is not another extension of Form 6. This is now university. You're expected to be a thinker. You're expected to have opinions. You're expected to challenge stuff. And so when you leave the University of Southern Caribbean, I trust that you would have looked back on the experience, not for the certification, not for the degree, but for the strength of your thoughts and your challenges you develop as you are part of this institution. Those are my comments to you today. I hope you remember them and that you continue to challenge your assumptions and embrace the unknown as the future lies ahead of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yearwood, for a wealth of information. You shared so much with us this evening. Encouragement, tips to start that journey. You encouraged us that the future that we are thinking about really begins today. So thank you very much for being with us this afternoon and for sharing that information in our virtual open day. Now it's time for our question and answers. Some of you would have posted questions on YouTube or Facebook, and those would have been answered, but we do have some additional questions that we want to ensure you get your answers this evening. So I'm going to turn us over to Mr. Odell Juval or Ms. Sedeno, and they will answer the additional questions that you may have this evening. This is two persons within the School of Business who will ensure that you have the answers that you need.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, Ms. Tideno, so far we have seen two questions. One of them asks, how long would it take to do the accounting degree part-time? And I suppose that could go for any of our degrees. And how would part-time work? Like what days, what times, as the case may be?
Okay. When it comes to doing part-time courses, the online courses can be really beneficial. Now, remember I told you, be careful about not being overburdened. So you have responsibilities at work. Do not take too many courses. You have to know what you're able to deal with, and your advisor will guide you to that. You can do courses to complete it. Now, I have seen part-time persons finish within 4 years and even 3. Actually, someone recently was finishing within 3 years, but they really pushed it. Now, you have to know yourself, know if you're capable to handle courses depending on your work. So we have classes in the evening going up to 8:35. So if you leave work, maybe let's say at 4, you can start your first class at 4:30. And you can include online courses and therefore complete your degree just like other persons who are full-time. But the main thing I want you to understand is that you need to know what you're able to cope with between work and school and life.
Okay, the second question. Is it possible to do an economics major, that's as your degree, with a minor in music?
Yes, that's quite possible to do. I just want you to keep in mind again that GATE only pays for 1 degree. So all your music courses would not be funded by GATE. And what they prefer you do is complete all of your business courses, your econ courses, and then you can do your music courses at the side, because when they start to see music courses coming in, they may start to question it, right? But if you're not a GATE student, then you can do the econ major along with the minor. That's fine.
Okay, great. And I've been looking out for more questions, if there are any coming in on Facebook or on YouTube, and I am not seeing any other. So that's it for now.
Thank you, Ms. Sideno. Thank you, Mr. Juvel, for answering those questions this afternoon. We are beginning to wrap up this well-spent time this evening with the School of Business and Entrepreneurship. I want to share with you the date for applications. No, applications for undergraduate programs, the due date is August 20th. And if perhaps you want to do an MBA, if you want to be part of the graduate school, your application will be due on August 15. So persons for undergrad, August 20. So you want to do your degree in marketing or finance or in accounting, any of those areas, your bachelor's degree, you need to get those applications in. You would log on to usc.edu.tt and you will find all the steps there to become part of the School of Business and Entrepreneurship. I want to thank you so much for joining us this evening, for spending the time to learn more about this school, for your questions, and for the questions that will come later as you sit down at home and as you ponder all the information that you would have listened to this evening. I'm sure that you're going to have more questions. You can also check us out on Facebook, USCTT, or on Instagram, usc.tt. And you can post questions there and we will be more than happy to share with you and to provide the information that you need. On behalf of the School of Business, we really want to thank you for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you really, really soon as you take your journey to excellence. At this time, Ms. Ward is going to close us out in prayer.
Again, I want to say thank you to all of you who chose to join us this afternoon. And we want to just close our session this afternoon with a word of prayer. So we're going to just bow our heads and talk to God. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this opportunity of sharing with prospective students our university and what we can offer. Father, we ask you to guide them and direct them as they make their decisions. We pray that you would bless those of us who teach and work here. Help us to be good representatives. Help us to be able to answer the many questions that come in, and help us to help these students make the right decision that will benefit them. Into your hands, we commit each of those who have logged on to us this afternoon. We thank you for our presenters as well. And we ask that, Father, that when you come, that you would save us in your kingdom, because we are prepared. These mercies we ask in Jesus' name. Amen. Have a lovely afternoon, folks.
Amen.
God bless.